Russell Harty presents a preview of the film The Dark Crystal.
1,000 years ago, the crystal cracked. And here, far from the castle, the race of mystics came to live in a dream of peace. Their ways were the gentle ways of natural wizards. Yet now there are only 10, a dying race, numbly rehearsing the ancient ways in a blur of forgetfulness. But today, the ritual gives no comfort. Today, the wisest of the mystics lies dying. Today, they summon the one who must save them.
Good evening. Those were creatures called mystics who are part of a tale we have to tell you tonight. Jim Henson and Frank Oz, the masterminds behind the Muppets, have created a world of fantasy in the film called The Dark Crystal, and they've peopled it with strange beings. And we're going to meet some of them tonight, mystics and monsters, and two extraordinarily inventive humans called Jim Henson and Frank Oz. But first, an aperitif. As we are currently celebrating 60 years of children watching television this week, some home truths from the mouths of the young. Recently, an invitation went out to children all over Britain to write a letter about their mums, what they like, what they dislike, no holds barred. The perpetrators of this exercise in family disruption were Mother Magazine and, for some obscure reason, British Telecom. Please welcome with you 6 prize winners aged between 7 and 13, together with their brave or foolish mums. Now, we start at the end here with, who have we got here? Alexi, where are you from?
Blanford, Raycommon.
Where? From where? Reigate?
Yes.
And you've written a letter to your mum?
Yes.
And your mum's sitting behind you listening to you?
Yes.
So just read the lesson and be careful. Letter and be careful. Off you go.
Dear Mummy, the things I like about you are the way you comfort me and send me to sleep by stroking my fringe. You make me laugh when you open the kitchen cupboard in the kitchen and all the pans fall out, and you jump up and down and scream, love Alexi.
Thank you. And behind you is Mrs. Ray.
Yes,
Your kitchen is a mess, is it?
Well, no, not a mess. It's just that the saucepan cupboard's in an awkward place.
Yeah.
And I tend to put too much in it, and when I open it, they all come tumbling down and make an awful noise.
So it's not a question of good housekeeping, it's a question of bad management.
It's a question of bad designing on the
Right.
kitchen bit of people.
Right, now that we move to Nigel. What? What did you say then?
Mummy looks funny on the thing.
You're going to get a little swipe when you get home as well tonight. Now, Nigel Adam, how do you pronounce your name?
Adine.
Where are you from?
Mottingham in London.
Right, and you're going to read your letter to your mum.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Mum, M is for MasterChef. Very burnt or charcoal for dinner. U is for Eustace with a washing machine. Best jumper stretched, white school shirt pink and is going pinker. The last M is for moaning. It's her full-time hobby. She's a mum in a million and no one else can be so unlucky. From a fan of yours like Nigel.
Thank you kindly. Now then, do you moan a lot?
I don't think so.
Well, where's he got this moaning from?
Well, he says I moan a lot, but I don't think I really do.
Do you ever clip him round the ear hole?
Sometimes.
Right, we move on now to Paul. Paul Connor from Oldham in Lancashire, one of our lot, aren't you? Right, speak up loudly and clearly. Read your letter to your mummy.
Dear Mum, this is how I feel about you. You are extremely kind,
Like last week you gave me 50 pence. You are concerned about my schoolwork and where I play. However, when my teeth fall out, you accuse me of kissing the girls, and that bugs me. But I love you anyway. Love from Paul.
But I love you anyway was the last line, wasn't it? Now, is he a Romeo at school?
Anything but. He's a real tough boy.
Really?
But not into girls. Not yet.
Are those teeth your own?
Pardon?
Are they your own teeth?
Yeah.
Well, you've not been kissing much recently. Now here we are, have James Lake. It's what?
There's one falling out at the moment.
Here's James Lake. Where are you from? From Stafford, James?
Yeah.
And you're going to read to your mum, who's behind you. Off you go.
Dear Mum, this is how I feel about you. God must have made a special magic when he put you together. You are my friend, teacher, playmate. And because I am disabled, you are my body. You smooth all the aching in my body. But you always make me laugh. Love, James.
Terrific.
It always puts it
That must make you feel very proud, as very moved, as we all do. What did you win, James? What have you won as your prize?
portable TV and a computer game.
So you'll be able to watch us all next week, won't you?
Yeah.
Good for you. Now then we move on to Matthew. Where are you from, Matthew?
Worcester.
Right. Read to your mum.
Dear Mum, this is how I feel about you. You are very kind and also you are very beautiful. There's just one or two things. You're a bit overweight, plus your cooking is not that brilliant, but it is edible. But please stop nagging about my bedroom.
Read the
Love
last line again, please.
But please stop nagging about my bedroom. Love, Matthew.
What's the bedroom like?
A tip.
Is it? You're not... Do you think she's overweight?
Yeah.
Well, I've got something to show you afterwards. Now, you're the last mum. What's your name?
Geraldine Gaisley, Felicity's mum.
This is Felicity. Where are you from?
Halifax.
And she's going to close this little section for us. Are you ready, Felicity? Carol, your next door friend, will be listening to you, so speak up. Off you go.
Dear Mummy, the things I like about you most are you let me keep a stray kitten when I had already got a dog called Jealous, a fish called Dublin, and a caterpillar called Tim. And you did not say she is going, even when she weed in the ivy plant.
Absolutely terrific. Out of the mouths of babes, so forth. Now, all adults and all these happy children here can settle down and prepare for a flight of fantasy. The Dark Crystal, which took Frank Oz and Jim Henson 4 years to make, takes as its classic theme the battle between good and evil. The crystal of the title has been broken, and it must be restored if misrule and evil are not to prevail. Two races represent good and evil. The Skeksis, who one can tell at a glance are the baddies. The mystics, whose chanting you saw at the beginning of the programme, are the goodies. The creatures who now have the job of trying to restore this crystal are two gelflings, the last of their race to survive. And here we meet them visiting the ruins of their ancestors.
I can feel something. Hear it almost.
We don't go in here anymore. Bad things happened in here once.
But they were gelfling. Like us.
Yes. They were all killed by the Skeksis long ago.
And now will you please welcome those two distinguished earthlings called Jim Henson and Frank Oz. Earthlings. We've got Gethlings on your right-hand side. She's one of the people who wander off to look for the crystal. You're two Earthlings and two distinguished Earthlings. We just ought to say that the story of the film, A, is simple, and B, has a long and rich tradition behind it, isn't it? It's a simple story about the quest for the Holy Grail or some kind of mystical property.
It's essentially a simple story about Kira here, the heroine, and Jen, the hero, who are out on a quest to really restore the crystal, and the good people, the bad people and creatures they meet along the way. That's essentially the story.
Right. Now, the interesting part of the film, about the film, though, is that a lot of you together, and there are great groups of you who made this movie, started off the wrong way round. In other words, you thought of characters, you thought of a landscape, you thought of a kind of strange mystical geography, but you'd no story.
Well, in this particular case, what we wanted to do was create a world, and so that was kind of what we started out to do. And I began when I first saw the work of Brian Froud, who's
your designer.
Yeah, he's a fantasy illustrator, English, and he does his designs are just fantastic. And when I saw his work, I loved the idea of trying to create a film that had that kind of a look to it. So I got together with Brian, and we started off to work out what the world looked like and what these characters looked like and how they moved. And we had a basic kind of an overall structure.
Right.
But the story itself didn't happen until after we designed the characters.
It's very odd, that isn't it? That to start that way around, or is it?
It is. Usually it's, as you said, the reverse. It's the script first. But there is a lot of exploration here to do first.
Now, if it weren't for Concord and some snow in New York, we wouldn't have had a story, would we?
Well, yes, that's true, because I was flying over with my daughter, Cheryl, and she was about 17 at the time. And it was just about 5 years ago right now, and it was the great blizzard of '78 hit just as we got on the plane. And so we were stuck at the airport for 2 days, and we had to stay at the motel there. And so for 2 days, I had a wonderful time with my daughter, and during that time, the story went together. And so I'd been waiting for a couple of days where I would have time to put this story down. And so I got the time.
Okay, well now let's move into the story, shall we? I mean, let's try and carry the story a bit further forward, because we'll tell a major part of the story. We won't go into the last few reels, shall we?
It'd be nice to keep that a surprise.
Right. Well, at the moment, in pursuit of their quest, the two Gelflings take refuge with a group of podlings, who, as you might think, are a race of jolly people, and they all like going to parties.
You know the three suns in the sky? They're going to come together soon. It's called the great something or other. It's a prophecy, and he told me that I must find the shard, and that everything must be done before the three suns join in one, and that's all. And then he died. That's just it. I don't know. I found the shard.
But you don't know what to do with it.
There's more than a hint of Muppetry in that scene, isn't there? It's a little throwback.
Yes. I think those characters are probably, of all the characters in the film, are the closest ones to the Muppets in style.
The smaller ones, not the larger ones. That,
oh yeah, not the biggies.
Not the evil ones that came in at the end.
No, they tend to hurt a party.
They tend to destroy a party. There are these evil creatures wandering around all over that are sort of directed by the baddies who have mindless qualities, don't they?
Those are the characters that we saw and that broke in. They're called Gotham, and they're soldiers, and they have but one duty in life, and that is to do their duty, which is just do what they're told, get the person, bring him back, kill him, whatever. These are not people you want to invite over to dinner.
Now, way back in the mists of history, you used puppets or Muppets a long, long time ago, didn't you, in an earlier manifestation?
Oh, sure. Well, you know, I started about 26 or 7, 8 years ago in the States.
And didn't you make a commercial in those early days?
Many of them.
A sort of coffee commercial. I was going to use the actual name. Here it is, that early commercial.
Okay, buddy, what do you think of Wilkins coffee? I never tasted it. Now, what do you think of Wilkins?
We did a series of those commercials. They were only 10 seconds long, and we did about 150 of them for that coffee client.
You haven't any lying around for Channel 4, have you, at the moment?
No.
What did Miss Piggy, if we may talk in hushed and reverential tones about this creature, was not very happy when you decided you may make this particular movie, Dark Crystal, in New York, was she?
I don't talk to the lady much myself. I have a hard time talking to her, as a matter of fact.
Do you?
Yes, she doesn't listen to me. She has her own life going. She's probably out now in a simple little romantic dinner with a frog and about a dozen photographers.
But wasn't she responsible for you having to pull the whole of the production of The Dark Crystal over to London?
In a way, yes, because we were doing the Muppet Show here.
Right.
So indeed, we were doing pre-production on this movie while we were doing the Muppet Show, and while we were doing the second Muppet movie. Yeah.
And she got depressed about the fact that you were whizzing off to America.
Yeah, well, we didn't hear from her. Her agent talked to us about that. We don't really have first-hand contact with her.
Right, right. So you came back here to do this particular movie and keep her happy.
It's funny because different people ask us about the Muppets and Dark Crystal, and they're so totally different that in my mind I can't connect them at all. You know, it's like you go out of one house and you walk over and you go into another house, and it's like two totally separate worlds.
But you can see Misty Strains, though, can't you? If I could ennoble it with that kind of description.
A little bit.
I think we learn from every project we do, and then we take that knowledge, and in this case, we've taken the knowledge to such a sophisticated, strange degree. We've done so many happy, full of energy shows,
right.
And now we're just going on the darker side a bit, and more complex and more textured side. It's just exciting to explore that area a little bit, but we still love the others that we do.
Okay, now this is officially entitled, is it a Lou Grade movie or a Jim Henson movie, or a bit of both?
Let's see, well, Lou Grade presents
a
Jim Henson movie.
Now, did you have to go to Lou Grade and say, I've got this idea?
Yes, actually, well, I had started working on this film. We had started talking about it and working on it before we did the first Muppet movie. And then Lou contacted me, and I met with him, and he said, I'd really like you to do a movie. And I said, great, because I've started working on a movie idea already that I really liked, and I started talking about this. And Lou said, no, he really wanted to do the Muppet Show characters first, but he liked the idea also.
But did he, when he
he said, we'll do both movies.
Did he, when he was puffing on his cigar at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is when he normally works, and you said we've got Gelflings and Garthim and Mystics and Uncle Tom Cobbett, and did he not say, are you mad?
No, actually, Lou, one of the nice things about my relationship with Lou over the years is that he has always believed in this film, and he supported it throughout, and we did the first Muppet movie, and then we kept working on Dark Crystal while we did The Great Muppet Caper. And he was a strong supporter of our film from the beginning.
Right, well, now let's get back to the quest a little bit now, because we're moving them forward into their journey. As the Gelflings fight to restore the crystal in the castle of the Skeksis, the baddies, the Mystics also arrive and comfort the guards, the formidable Garthim. that then? Is this a mystic that you know?
This is the cook, isn't it?
Yes, that's the cook.
We call them really by the functions. He is one of about 9 mystics, and they're very gentle creatures, and very, very old.
How old?
Oh, about 1,000 years old, I'd say.
And he's the cook and the bottle washer. Is it a spoon in his hand?
No, this is a cane. This is a walking cane, which also has many symbols on it. Mystical symbols.
He can hear me, but he can't speak.
Right, right.
You can obviously hear me, Mr. Mystic.
You can hold the cane if you'd like.
I can.
Sure.
But he won't fall down or fall. How do mystics go to sleep? They rest their heads, don't they?
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
I'm here for the rest of the night. Is this wholly a mystic, or maybe somebody lurking behind it?
These characters, the mystics, are worked by artists. There are 9 artists inside the 9 characters.
So there is somebody inside.
Yes.
Yes. There really is, yes.
Yes.
Robbie Barnett actually is the performer inside of this particular character.
He's got slightly tearful there, look. How does he see where he's going?
He's able to. I'm not quite sure. I think there's no one in there actually. I think he's alive.
Is there not a little sort of machine inside?
Yes, actually, we have in a lot of our characters we would have a small television monitor inside.
Inside.
And Robbie is probably in there watching television right now.
He's probably watching himself on television, isn't he?
Yes.
Well, I think he's do they have their own individual characters inside that? I mean, are they jealous of each other, or how do you audition, for instance, for a mystic of this nature?
Well, we did have an audition for mime artists. Robbie is one, and Jean-Pierre Amiel was the head of that group. And so we found several, about a dozen or so, and they had a strenuous training period for about 6 to 9 months.
But the physical effort must be monumental.
Yes, indeed.
Can you indicate how he is at this moment?
Well, it's a very difficult position, and he's bent over on his haunches, and I find it, you know, I tried getting in one early on, and I could hold this position only for probably about 10 or 15 seconds.
The important thing for us is, I think we're okay to talk about it like this, but the important thing for us is that people believe in that character. And I think they do, even though we do talk about Robbie inside.
Look here!
It's a very believable.
I talk to its face the whole time.
That's right.
I don't know where whoever's face or backside is, but I will talk to the face and genuinely believe in it. I want to say thank you to Mr. Mystic, whoever he may be first, and we're going to move on with our journey, because now we're at that part of the film where we see the Skeksis, that's the babbies, at home having dinner. Now, you may have wondered why we've said they're so evil. I want you to wait until you see their actual table manners.
Roast snappery, my favorite. Snappery, I want the rare. You slime face! Rotten! It seems to me that Gelfling has escaped, huh? No Gelfling ever escaped from my deadly garden. More food! More food!
Dessert! Rolling! Dessert! Rolling food!
Not bad at all.
One of the most impressive things about this movie is actually the meticulous attention to detail. I mean, this table is like a sort of medieval crumbling banquet. There's plenty of food round, as you can see. There are jugs or vases of wine. Wine here. Is this? And there's obviously a Skeksis or two around you, which is maybe having its dinner. Do you want to eat? You. Have a little bone to pacify you with. Would you like a bone? And here, since Skeksis isn't talking to us, we have a kind of sweet or a pudding. This, isn't it? Yeah. Where there are things that actually move around. Those. All right, pudding. All right, pudding, thank you.
Yes, these were actually one of my favorite little creatures that we had in the film because after spending weeks and elaborate attention to building the special effect things, the little bugs that we used in this were little wind-up things that we bought in a toy store. And they cost about 40p, you know?
There you are, Mr. Skeksis. You can have one of those.
That's the designer, incidentally.
This is the designer?
That's the designer.
Inside there. Now then, what are you eating there?
Well, this is a roast nebri, and yes, the nebri at one point in the film was a friendly creature that helps the gelfling, and it just shows how nasty our bad guys are because they eat some of the good guys.
And what have you got down there?
Well, these two are two. I don't want to talk about it actually. these are Landstratter heads, but these are all made for the film. Also, these things here, you just don't go out and buy them. All these props are made. I don't know what this is, but it was made for the film. Everything is made specifically for the film.
Shall I tell you what it is? Shall I? Well, I think it.
What is it?
I think it's a thing you
can
put
hear the
into your
ocean.
ear like that when your meal starts moving around again. Everybody spoke Greek at one point around this table, didn't they? The Skeksis, the baddies, spoke Greek.
We had them speaking kind of Greek or Old Egyptian, but it was something that didn't quite work out, so now they speak more English.
And another absolutely fascinating detail, which you can see from this Skeksis here, is that their eyes are very bright and pointed and move about. They're actually looking at people.
Yes, yes. We spent a lot of time developing the eyes on each character, and we find that the eye is the part that brings something to life more than almost anything else.
Absolutely.
So we would concentrate a great deal on getting eye movement
and making them happy.
Yes.
And making them happy. That about concludes this moving performance, moving banquet. And I would like to thank Jim and Frank and all the people who are here, and all the Skeksis and the good boys and the bad boys and the podlings. In about a minute or two, BBC Two will be returning to reality. Meanwhile, from us all here, good night.